Shalom, shalom, Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, a great millstone. Much salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect most high will. To the hopeful extended elect, shalom, blessings. This is a straight out the horse's mouth, as we call it.
A tough one to talk about. I don't see any way around it. Let me apologize in advance to those white men who I am acquainted with and respect and love, but you've got to speak what's true. Pedophilia, victimizing of people who you have power over. In this case, the victimizing of children who you have power over. Has anyone noticed that in every arena, it is rich white men who dominate the field? We know Epstein, where it's so distressing that some of the richest men on the planet habitually sexually abused children. SA'd, I think I'm supposed to say, children. And they were tied together in secrecy, in keeping each other's secrets for decades. They were tied together financially. I think it was, if you deal with me financially and you become dependent or become intertwined, you're less likely to ever reveal anything about the things we've been doing in the dark. The same sort of ethic is true in churches, the Catholic Church, which for beyond decades, a century, kept the secrets of the white male priests who were essaying children. The same is true in small pastorates, small churches, where the pastor has a lot of power. Don't anybody say, oh yes, but it doesn't just have to do with that. I mean, a lot of women, still support these people. Sure they do. As long as women are in any way financially dependent on men, they're going to go along with almost anything, and that's just the truth. The latest, and I saw this morning on TikTok, and it was so distressing. You know the whole latest thing about we're going to declare certain occupational fields as not professional fields. I heard that and I thought, well, that's the dumbest thing. That has no point. What is the point of that? Well, the first thing I looked at was that, if you look at the fields, and I wrote them down, it's like master's degree in education, a CNA, which is a medical helper, physician's assistants, social workers, occupational therapists, physical therapists are no longer, and there's more, they're no longer, I thought they had one thing in common. They were the fields women were in. Now, what does it matter? It matters because if they are declared to be not professional fields, people cannot get financial aid to assist them in getting the education necessary to go into the field. Got it? No financial assistance able for a master's degree in education or physical therapy or physician's assistant. And why does that matter? Reason one, these are fields dominated by women. These are ways women can become financially independent, can become able to support themselves and their families. But number two, I didn't even think about till I saw it this morning on TikTok. And Creator, forgive me, please, for not noting down your name. These fields, every one of them that I named, are mandated reporters of child abuse. You get me? The white male federal government is saying, oh, they're not real fields anymore. Every one of them is mandated to report signs of child abuse. What to say? What to say? White men are the problem. White men, and white men particularly who desire power, money, are the problem. White men who cannot control their urges are the problem. White men who present a face of honesty and rectitude and caring, but who aren't, who are essaying children, are the problem. The secrecy is the problem. God help us all. So this is a...
Yeah, straight out the horse's mouth. And we talk about that. It even talks about I'm not near my scriptures, but it talks about the rich man howling, your riches are cankered. It talks about, we always talk about the wealthy families uh, of, that are that dominate the world. They're an elite body, elite system of secrecy, a brotherhood of their secret society, which is called the Illuminati. Also, um, the Rothschild, Rockefeller, DuPonts, Gettys, the rich families like the Waltons and all that, and, all these super companies are tied into each other. Like she said, they are tied into this conglomerate financial system that, is that stands by wealth as a part of their power, along with their military might. And we always talk about that NATO and EU, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and the European Union, which together make the beast. The military part being NATO and the financial part being EU, and it's tied into the control of this whole world, this whole new world age system that they're creating or have created, that ties into the MOTB in Revelation. You can't buy or sell without it. So, like she said, even giving these women entitlement and independence is tied into a financial a body that they have to be a part of to, so they're, so to speak, a part of this secret society by affiliation, by financial means, and to even going into these prestige colleges, getting entitlement at these jobs to where they, they'll live that lifestyle before they lose it, when it comes to, some form of government, to where they know if they become a whistleblower, they'll lose their job or get knocked off. I think that works within these certain camps that come against true men of the Lord, that they've taken the bag. They have become affiliates with certain elite men of um, these sects, you know, around the world, of so-called white men, you know, that have power to do so. It talks about in the scriptures, a secret council hiding from the wicked, secret council of wicked men, paraphrasing. Talks about Psalms 83, the enemies being in confederacy, to each other to keep us from knowing that we're Israel, to keep Israel out of our heads, that Israel shall be no more. And they rule the hospitals, they rule the media, social media, and the core narrative of these different world, uh, what would you call it? These different world fashions of any type of a public media power. They have control over the movies, sports, the how history is narrated and presented to the public. These churches, 501c3 charters, you know, and that's why you have a dark web. That's why you have these a lot of these underground organ harvesting. You have a lot of these Catholic priests that are doing more evil than, of course, the average man. You know, more evil than the average drug dealer in the neighborhood that has been pointed out to be a label upon so-called black men and Latino men, mostly black men, to hide, cover up, the true father of uh, these, the father of these lies, these inventions, these cruel methods of control, worldwide, especially upon the children of Israel. Uh, so, you know, you can't arrest the elites. Most High has preserved them pretty much to go into slavery. They have an end. Like it says in Obadiah, like it says in Second Esdras, um, like it says, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Um, Most High made the wicked for the day of evil. So you can't arrest them. You can. You have no power to take rich men to the courts because they have lawyers. If you want to go to court in the fight of a heavy case, you have to have lawyers. And if you don't have no money, the lawyers are not gonna be like, well, I'll do this for free. I see that you're a just man. I see that they falsely accuse you, so I'll fight for you without the money. You know, and if there is someone out there like that, is very few and far in between. That you know, and it's all for publication. It's all for further gain, further money in the pockets. It's all for an agenda. So we talk about this elite agenda of the New World Order, and it ties into these same fashions of how the rich men live. They showed you that, and they show you in movies. They showed you in Trading Places, old Eddie Murphy movie. They showed you that in Squid Game, which was a popular, I think, was it a popular series on Netflix. They showed you the elite there. Um, a lot of these movies, Matrix, the Men in Black with Will Smith, you know, code word for the elites. So um, that's why I say in the scriptures, labor not to be rich, because riches, and it even says riches make themselves wings, they fly away. It says riches, paraphrasing, have men in harmful situations. It brings injury and harm. And like he said, because they are rich and have that power and support, and they abuse children, they abuse men, they abuse the poor, they abuse Israelites, specifically the subject matter of, how we detail and come out with, look up information to speak. And it's according to prophecies also, because it talks about In Deuteronomy 28:15 all the way through 68 talks about our curses, that they will be the head and we will be the tail. They will get up very high and we will come very low. It talks about that we should go into captivity on our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man should buy us. And he should put a yoke of iron upon our neck till we be destroyed, till we have been destroyed. That's in Deuteronomy 28:68. And these are factual key components, information that kind of slip through the cracks of society and the media because there's so much folly. And that's what they want. And this is a well-designed system to, you know, express entertainment, or the encouragement to express yourselves in entertainment and, you know, self pride, to where, you know, there's no structure of any moral uh, importance. Uh, you know, if you want to be a sodomite, you could be a sodomite in America, and then you could make a platform, and then you can, you know, get views and become a popular so-called entity, you know, in society, and be praised for that, you know. And just like any other individual platforms of any other individuals that want to express themselves individually, independently, they're able to do so. And that's why this media is the biggest thing out now. Social media is the biggest thing out. No one, a lot of people, most of these people in America can't live without social media. That's where the independent women are, especially the black women on social media. That's how they thrive. That's how they create businesses. You know, so they love this social media. They love that it's out. I know, and the truth is seeps through, and it surfaces, but they'll continue to pile on more folly, pile on more social media, more freedom, independence, and they'll push it through this MOTB to some kind of way, even though it's known to be the mark of the beast, this RFID hip. They'll still advertise it as super beneficial to today's society. You know, everybody's dealing with AI. Everybody, you know, a lot of people don't know the difference between AI and real. So to be, to know and to pretty much re-know thyself, thy self-worth, and to become, so to speak, knowledgeable in a way to where you know things, what things are real and what things are not, because you don't want to be confused, which will lead you deep into confusion. But that's the way they could advertise it, through the C-HIP, because they say, well, you know, you got your own personal device with you, so you know you don't have, you know, everything is motion censored through that, to where, and you physically living out your lifestyle, but with some type of personal identification, coded identification with that C-HIP, you're going to feel independent, and you're going to feel worthy again, to, you know, to at least say, well, you know, if I get threatened, or if there's any cyber crimes against me, hackers, or there any ones that seek my life, well, you know, I have the C-HIP, which, you know, provide me information, provide me a networking system inwardly to define those things, point those things out before they get really heavy, or before they really happen. It's, you know, it's a movie called Minority Report. So it's definitely being exercised, and it's definitely been surfacing the outcome of this thing, will definitely reach its peak, as how the Most High would want it, until he pull the chain on it, till he stops it. And that's what it says in the scriptures also, Job 5:12. And everything has its end. Everything, the beginning has its end, and also he cannot pass his boundary. So he's going to push it to the limit, push it as far as he can go. And, like this woman said, at the same time, the control that he has, he uses. And a lot of it's part of the social media tied into this financial system, which is the expression of the beast, image of the beast, which is his system, and the power, military might that he has, and the control he has to put out, to hire military servants and insurgents, whatever the case may be, to political gangs and all that, puppeteering the president and everything else. So we are at the end of the world of his power, and she's not really a whistleblower. She's kind of like a true sayer, but they could be defined sometimes in the same fabric, but they probably won't, threaten her life because she's an old woman, and who listens to the older people anyway, elderly people. They just say, well, yeah, she's she might be telling the truth, but we're not influenced really by her. We're not what do you call it? Um, really encouraged by her to even be uh, a threat, or be with somewhere along the lines of what she's saying, to become a threat to society. And elites know that too, so they don't care. But if you're young, vibrant, you got views, you have connections, you have numbers, you have a high influence, they'll definitely watch you more. And that's just how the ball, you know, bounces. That's how the wheels roll. And we fit in there, here or there, because we're not really famous. We're not really, influencers. We're not really, though we encourage, we're not really popular to where we'll, but it's getting that way, because the Most High said this truth is going to be all over the world, published all over the world, and people are going to know about it. People are going to wake up to it, you know. You could be awake and not, so much act on it, but you can be awake and aware. And sometimes that's all it takes for them to make their move, you know. But they're going to make it. Most High is going to steer them up to do it anyway. Hopefully it was edifying. To the next video. Shalom.